Hatching is a way of applying a pattern to any particular area within a zone in your drawing. It's often much easier for beginners to hatch when you have a closed polyline enclosing a space. If I click on this shape here, which represents a tank under some raised decking, you can see that it's all one object. I'll hit the escape key. What we're going to do now is to apply some patterning there. So it's draw, and then it's hatch. Up pops the hatch dialog box. I've selected a particular hatch pattern, and what I've done here is to make the hatch pattern scale fairly high, and I've put in the notes the reasons for that, but basically it means that this pattern scale comes from the US, so we've got to start this a high scale. Then I select pick entities, and I pick the entity that I want to hatch, and I say OK, and it hatches the inside of that space with a particular pattern that we've selected. It's not quite dense enough for what I want, so I can select it, go to properties, and change that to perhaps a scale pattern of 20. Click away and then close that. And that's the sort of effect that I want. And so always adopt that strategy. Use a scale that's a bit higher. Try and have a polyline enclosing the space that you want to hatch. It may work quite well without it, just by picking an area. You could pick an area enclosed by some lines like that. It may work, but it also may fail. Let's just repeat that. Right click, repeat the hatch, and pick entities. I can pick more than one entity at a time. So I'll select all of these shapes that represent our underground tanks, and I'll OK that. In they all go. It remembers that first scaling factor. I can select the hatching. Notice it's all one entity now, and I can change that to the scale of 20 to match the earlier one, and I can OK it. So now all of our tanks have been hatched, and as I zoom out a bit, you can agree they stand out really nicely, and that's a lot easier than drawing individual lines to indicate entities or sort of symbols, if you like, that have the same function.